What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into the channel. Today, I'm joined with Matt.
Hey, guys.
So today, we're going to continue talking about the cards coming out for Twilight of the Republic. But the thing is, we're not going to go over all the new cards being talked about. We're probably going to talk about some of the new cards in these types of videos. We're going to kind of do a ranking video. First, we're going to start off with the leaders from the Heroism side, what we have so far. This is going to be a part 1 for the Heroism leaders. And then we're going to go ahead and do the Villainy leaders next. And then we're going to have a part 2 when all the leaders are kind of revealed. And then we'll have a complete tier list in terms of like where we think that they might end up being when everything is revealed as far as the set goes. We're probably also going to go ahead and do this for aspect cards as well. We'll go ahead and rank our top 5 cards in blank aspect, right? We're going to continue that weekly just to kind of give you guys our thoughts on what's being revealed. We might do a top 10 card in the aspect pool, right? So with that being said, let's go ahead and start off. We're going to start at the bottom. There are 5 revealed Heroism leaders right now. We're going to start at number 5, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to talk about my number 5, and I have Padme. Now, again, I don't think that Padme is an awful leader. I think that she has really good viability in terms of being able to draw into something to help her in the mid to late game. When she has coordinate, she can spend 1, go ahead, exhaust, search top 3 cards, take a Republic card, reveal it, blah. She might not get that coordinate ability relatively early. You might be waiting till turn 3, 4, 5, depending on what you have on the board and what you've played currently, right? But then when she comes out, she has Restore 1, which is pretty nice. She has a 5/7, right? So those splits are not that bad. She comes out on 5. And again, Restore, Coordinate, on attack has the same thing. Now, the big thing with her when it comes to me and why I ranked her as my lowest leader is because, again, with the Coordinate ability, it's going to be hard to get it off maybe kind of early. We do not know how easy it is to also keep Coordinate active on the board. It might be as easy as just playing a bunch of like low-cost units and just, you know, playing around people's removal and playing around them trading into your units, and that might be the case. Another thing is that the costing 1 to get that card draw kind of reminds me of Cassian. Now, again, I love Cassian, right? Cassian is my favorite leader, all this stuff, but giving up the initiative might not be what you want to do every single time. And yes, if your opponent goes ahead and he passes the turn, and they can go ahead and they can spend the 1, they can go ahead and do that, right? And then you can go ahead and spend the 1 because you're not going to worry about the initiative anyway. You're going to get that draw, and again, help you kind of fuel your engine, make sure you don't, you know, fizzle out. But again, coordinate and stuff like that, you're going to kind of rely on, and again, in green might be the color to play around when it comes to coordinate, right? Because you have things like Shock T, you have things like Captain Rex, you have all of your event cards that allow you to make tokens and stuff like that. Commander Cody, making your, you know, friendly units stronger, so you can go ahead and use those other coordinate stuff. It's just, I think that green's a really good color in this set, especially when it comes to coordinate and clones. I just have her at number 5 at the moment right now. What do you think, Matt?
I mean, definitely, I don't exactly agree. I do think Padme has a little more versatility over some other leaders in the heroic side. What green does have going for even not in this set, just in previous sets, is U-wing reinforcement exists. So late game, even if your opponent has spent time like kind of keeping your coordinate down, that's a Hail Mary throw to flood the board back out again, which more often than not in a green heroic deck is what happens.
At that point, is she going to be on the board, and then do you have the resources to play that and then, you know, pay the 1 to draw? Like, that's the thing. It's just hard. The paying the 1 to draw makes me really sad. It's the reason why Cassian, for me, is a very sad time. Even though I play it a lot, I love it. It's my favorite leader as of right now. But paying the 1 to draw is painful sometimes. But go ahead. Who's your number 5 on this Heroism leader list so far?
My number 5 is not Padme, but Ahsoka.
Okay.
For very similar reasons. It's all based around the kind of coordinate. Ahsoka comes out on the same resource flip turn, statted a bit more offensively as a 3/6 instead of a 2/7. My main gripe with her, though, is that outside of coordinate, she has no actual abilities. So this is starting to look like a Hera situation from set one, where as a leader, if you can't maintain 3 units on the board before she flips, you're never really getting that attack with a +1 power. Where just like Hera not having an actual leader ability other than cool deck building strategies.
Yeah. Yeah,
And
I
then
mean,
on
you're
flip,
right.
yeah, on flip, just getting a +2 power is good. Being a 5/6 is nothing to sneeze at coming out on 5. That's a really good stat line. But you need the
The units to play around with it.
you need the units.
Mhm.
Now, granted, you could run the rare base, the droid manufacturing plant, or whichever, droid manufacturing, to make 2 battle droid tokens the second she flips. Run that red green, but you're also running a 24 health base at that point, and the battle droid tokens aren't going to really have any synergy with any Republic stuff, so that's also kind of iffy. And also, you could flip, get those tokens, and all your opponent has to do is kill 1/1, and
Yeah.
Ahsoka goes back to being a 3/6, which for the same resource level and stat line and color, Han 2 exists with a much better ability.
Yeah. I mean, Ahsoka. I think I might be a little bit higher on Ahsoka. But with that being said, let's go ahead and hop into our number 4s. And mine is Ahsoka. Now, the reason why I have Ahsoka higher than Padme, and you did allude to the fact that she potentially has no leader ability. Well, Padme also has no leader ability for the same reason. In that case. But the ability to keep tempo, not have to pay the 1, give up the initiative, to use the effect when you have coordinate online, and then going ahead and potentially using her ability to trade into something with a smaller unit you'd rather get rid of and keep your big unit to swing into the base to keep up your tempo and stuff like that. I think that she is going to surprise some people. I think that she's going to be faster than people realize. I think that a lot of people are going to, at least in this set, in the earlier times, I don't know how much trading there's going to be in terms of like in the gameplay, right? And this is where I'm thinking I'm probably going to keep on trading with my opponent, even if like obviously using exploit and stuff like that and getting coordinate online. It's better to make sure you're not taking damage than to keep your units on board for exploit or, for coordinate, right?
Yeah.
That being said, there are going to be people out there playing in your local scene, just trying to make sure they get to keep all their units on the board, so they won't trade into yours, and you get to keep yours and do all this stuff. And coordinate might just be, in the local scene, popping off. But again, you don't know how good coordinate's going to be. There are a lot of tools, as we already alluded to, a lot of the green stuff. If you're going to play Ahsoka, droid manufacturer, you might not have to play droid manufacturer, but there are a lot of options in green to go ahead and flood your board and make a lot of clone tokens, like Captain Rex, like just Shakti again. Like, there are just a ton of options there. You also have manufactured soldiers. In something like this, that would cost 5, though. Is that worth it? I don't know. And at that point, you're pretty much taking the battle droids because you want to make more units for the cost of 5. You're probably not playing it in that, though. In Padme, though, you're probably gonna, you might want to think about playing that in Padme double green. It could go pretty good. But again, you can go ahead and play the Clone Wars, and the thing is, you're making your opponent that many battle droids. It can get kind of interesting. And again, we don't know how good coordinate's going to be, but I do think that Ahsoka is going to be surprisingly fast because, again, red heroism is just a good color, because you have things like K2SO, Poe, and Wrecker from previous sets that you can go ahead and bring over. I think K2SO is just going to be played in like every red heroism deck, honestly, just because it is so good. Poe, if you're not running ECL, it doesn't pop off as much, and it just gets targeted to the point where it's not even used. But Wrecker is just scary. It's overall, it also has clone synergy, which could work with some other cards in this set. So I think that just being in red heroism makes her a little bit better in my mind than Padme. Both of them, again, really rely on coordinate, but I just have Ahsoka a little bit higher.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I mean, Red Heroism is scary. We've seen enough of that in sets 1 and 2 to
Mhm.
just continue that trend. Because why not?
Yeah.
But at 4, I have Padme.
Yeah.
So we're not too far off. We're differing a little bit here. I think it just comes down to a lot of the same things apply. Like you said, you're probably not getting that her leader ability off. So like my point with Ahsoka being like, essentially, she might not just have a leader ability. She might just be a color for you to use for your base,
Mhm.
for your deck. I do like the like you said, using something like the Clone Wars or Manufactured Soldiers to kind of get that board state up. Maybe double green Padme is going to be a thing. Running a full like double green Republic thing, because then getting on turn 2 having 3 units out,
Yeah.
makes it easier to maintain that coordinate for the future turns.
Mhm.
Which you're like you allude to, you're probably not paying the 1 to do the draw with her ability, even if you have the amount of units to have coordinate. It's just in that early game, in the early part of the game, you want to use all your resources to get yourself established.
Yeah.
Which drawing is, I honestly, in that it's going to be like I don't have options, so I need to go for something else. I need to dig for something. But when Padme does come out at, she's a 2/7, so she's a bit stickier than Ahsoka is. The Restore 1 is always nice. I always love to see healing on leaders. It's always good. And the draw just becomes an on-attack effect. So as long as you're maintaining the coordinate, you're gonna consistently get that draw. And like we alluded to before, Green has a lot of tools for getting those units out. It's just a matter of keeping them there, which that might just end up being the hard part.
Yeah. I mean, there's there's stuff probably gonna be played. Ahsoka is gonna be played just in the sheer fact that it's Ahsoka. Let's just be honest. There are a ton of Ahsoka fans. My dad's favorite Star Wars character is Ahsoka. Like, he has a tattoo of Ahsoka. Like, so he is going to play Ahsoka, and I'm gonna make him an Ahsoka deck, and hopefully it's good. With that being said, though, let's go ahead and hop into our number 3 on the list when it comes to the heroism leaders revealed so far. And I think we are in agreement here. I have Mace Windu. Matt has Mace Windu.
I have Mace Windu. Yep.
Now, when it comes to Mace Windu, I think that he has a lot of potential to do interesting things. He is control. He is the heroism version of control, most likely. Like Bo-Katan, she as she pings, he can do the same thing. Doesn't require something to attack, but you do have to pay 1. You deal 1 damage to a damaged enemy unit. It has to be damaged. And the thing is like the fact that it has to be damaged kind of scares me a little bit. And then if you have 5 or more damage on it, you get to deal another damage. So you can potentially finish something off relatively early enough. The fact that these units have to be damaged kinda is meh to me.
Yeah, that's the rough part as far as I consider for his early game.
Yeah,
because he comes out on 7, so unless you're ramping, you're gonna be using a leader ability more than his actual unit side.
Yeah. You're gonna have to focus on using your events with him, right? You're gonna like Bloodsport, Grenade Strike, things like Daring Raid, Bombing Run. Those are going to be kind of key to him. You're going to want to run heavy in a deck like this because you can swing heavy into something. It dies. It does 1 damage to each enemy ground unit. You can kind of get the ball rolling with that, right? Kit Fisto being able to attack. Again, these 2 cards, Heavy and Kit Fisto, rely on Coordinate as well. So you have to have Coordinate online. But Kit Fisto on attack, you may deal 3 damage to a ground unit. So like a lot of those things kind of having to deal the damage to a damaged unit, kind of like Tarkin Town. It's interesting, right? And then you can add in, again, it's in good colors, like Red Heroism. They're good colors. There are a lot of good units in it. Again, if you are focusing on coordinate, maybe you run Anakin Skywalker, you can go ahead and get some card draw on top of that. Mace Windu's lightsaber in this deck also gives it the ability to draw some cards, which is pretty cool. And if you want to play a control-y style, it can actually do pretty well in that. If you want to add blue and kind of add in the removal cards and stuff like that, it can kind of go that way. But having to deal the damage to damaged units kind of, again, like Matt said, it slows down the early game. It makes you rely on events and units that do potentially ping your opponent and stuff like that. So it kind of scares me a little bit. And the fact that, you know, I believe Matt and I have talked about this in the past, it's a 7-drop at 5/8 and nothing else other than the when deployed ability. So then after that, he is just there as a 5/8, which is decent. Right? It's nothing to sneeze at, but again,
I mean,
he's just there.
A 5/8 is a perfectly good stat line for a 7-drop. I mean, we see Vader and Hunter both have this. Vader and Hunter, however, have actual abilities. Vader has his on-attack ping that he just gets for attacking, and it's a sizable 2 damage, so that's already better than, you know, a Mace Windu's standard ping in leader form. And Hunter has Overwhelm as well as a very awkward, essentially drawing ability, which doesn't really get much use, but at least Hunter is a 5/8 with Overwhelm. Means he's probably going to swing into something, kill it, deal some Overwhelm damage, and live to do some attack again.
I don't understand how he doesn't have Overwhelm. I mean, in this certain location that he is right now, he is currently overwhelming the Chancellor right in his face, overpowering him. He should have Overwhelm, in my opinion. And that's kind of like a missed chance here. Like, I guess they don't want everything to have Overwhelm, but the things that we'll be talking about in the later video, but we can talk about them here too, Maul and Count Dooku both have Overwhelm, which kind of lead them to be really powerful units, especially in this set. Having all those tokens, if he just had Overwhelm, he might just be better. Like, he might just be better than the next 2 guys on our list. No, he wouldn't. But you don't actually know. Like, I think that just having Overwhelm, I think it fits Mace Windu. He's powerful, right? That's his big thing. Maybe they're trying to keep Overwhelm for an Anakin Skywalker aggression leader. They don't want to have 2 overwhelming leaders in the same color. We don't know, but Mace Windu, I mean, look at that hairline. That man is overwhelming me with how much hair he has. It's crazy.
Overwhelmingly bald.
Yeah. It's my future hairstyle, so don't work on it too much. All right, but with that being said, I mean, we both have the same leader at number 3, and I think that it makes sense. You know, it could potentially see some decent play. Again, with Bombing Run and Bloodsport, like, you could deal massive damage. Like, you have 5 resources, you play those 2 cards, everything on the ground and space is now damaged. You bring them out and you're dealing a total of 4 and 5 damage in respective units, right? 4 to the ground, 5 to air space, but you're also hitting your own space units, which is kind of scary with Bombing Run. Yeah, so, like, I don't know, there's potential. Do we see it right now? Yeah, a little bit, but these other 2 leaders, I think that we're gonna kind of hop into the next one. At my number 2 spot, I have, as much as it pains me, I have Obi-Wan. I think Obi-Wan at number 2. It makes sense here. I am still gonna main Obi-Wan in the next set. I'm gonna play him probably in double blue. I'm gonna become a scumbag. I also have ideas with him in green as well. I think he's going to be really strong in green, especially with General Riken and stuff like that. I think that he can have a ton of fun with something like that, a combo like that, ECL and stuff. I think he's really strong. His ability, his action ability, heal 1 damage from a unit. If you're playing early Sentinels to kind of slow down and get you to the late game and mid game, this is a good way to keep those Sentinels on the board. And then if you control 6 or more resources, he deploys, which is quite average for a leader in Vigilance for the most part. Most of them do come out on 6. And then he's a 4/7, which I think he's well statted. That 7 HP is going to let him stay on the board to maybe live at least 1 hit as a Sentinel, which is pretty good. And then on attack, he can go ahead and heal a unit. He can also heal himself if he had taken a hit that turn, which is really nice. If you do deal 1 damage to a different unit. Now, the main thing with this leader that I want to talk about is that I think that Force is going to be extremely strong in this set, right? Force units, Jedi, all that stuff. I think that synergy is going to be really strong, which is why I would argue that it is better than the leader that we're going to talk about next. But I think that what we've seen so far in the set kind of helps out the other leader a little bit more. But you have things like the Force is with me. The Force is with me with Obi-Wan is absolutely crazy. Just being the fact that it's available right away. Like Sharut, but this is just better. Just because like I can go ahead, attack the base for 6. He's a 6/9 with Sentinel. And if I had taken a hit, I can go ahead and ping something and heal myself if I had taken that hit, right? And with that being said, then I'm going ahead and I'm swinging into something with a shield. And if I didn't kill it, the potential of that 1 extra damage from this ability can potentially take out a big threat while also keeping Obi-Wan on the board. There are also other Force-centric cards. I mean, like, there's just cards like Hello There. It's just a great card. Then you have, like, what's it called? Mystic Reflection. Mystic Reflection works really well with it. So if you want to run a more Force-centric deck, you can end up running Mystic Reflection for a 1-drop because you're playing a more Force-centric deck rather than spending 3 on Make an Opening. Yes, you do get the heal for Make an Opening, so maybe you're not completely cutting it out of the deck, but I think Mystic Reflection in a deck like this could be really, really good, especially because you're going to run probably more Sentinels as it is. You can run things like Kiade Munde because, again, it's a 5-drop, that's a 5/7. It's absolutely crazy. It doesn't even need the Coordinate ability to be a good card, but that being said, if your opponent ends up drawing, plays their second card, either they play multiple cards a turn, and you have Coordinate activated, drawing 2 cards could be really good in a deck like this. Again, you can run it in red, you can run it in green. I want to probably try my hand in green because I have a lot of ideas with that. I think the synergy with those leaders, with the units in green, also being able to add Clone Commander Cody to a deck like this actually seems like really, really strong because you go ahead, if you have Coordinate, give everything Overwhelm, and I think that's something that a deck like this is kind of missing, right? If you can keep Commander Cody on the board, and then you're using your like beefier in terms of like HP statted like units for blue with the Forces with me, with other things like that, Make an Opening and Hello There to make your opponents weaker, and then going over and swinging over with Overwhelm, it can make for some really good combinations with Obi-Wan. I'm really excited for this leader. I would have him at number 1 if I was being completely biased. But go ahead, Matt. Talk about your number 2.
I mean, my number 2 is Obi-Wan. So
yeah,
we are aligned in the top end of this heroic list, I will say. And a lot of points the same. Commander Cody's a good point out there as because he's giving, as long as you maintain the Coordinate, +1/+1 and Overwhelm, which makes Obi-Wan a 5/8 Sentinel that's also getting the Overwhelm damage if he chooses to swing into someone, which is spooky. And Obi-Wan can heal himself as well on the attack too, so
he can also heal Commander Cody, keep him on the board.
Yeah, so 100%. And then you have things like in blue itself. I have the high ground for 1. You choose Obi-Wan after you deploy him, and now every enemy unit that wants to swing into him has -4 power.
Yep, and then with Sentinel, it's a really good combination. The fact that they have Hello There and I have the high ground, very synergistic with Obi-Wan. He's the best character in all of Star Wars, hands down, no arguments ever. I switch him to my number 1 rank right now because he is just the best. With that being said, we are going to go ahead and talk about our number 1, and it's actually the newest leader. Now, the reason that I probably have him at number 1 is because he has the most synergy with cards revealed so far, though Obi-Wan does have a lot as well. But, like, going over Captain Rex here, he is kind of crazy. Now, you have to pay 2 for his ability, which is kind of scary. But if a friendly unit attacks this phase, create a clone trooper token. So again, I think in the later game, this is going to probably be used a little bit more. This is also a good way to maybe get Coordinate on the board a little bit earlier, mainly because you can go ahead and, play something on turn 1 that costs 2, swing with it turn 2, make a clone trooper token, then go ahead and play a 1-drop, and then you have 3 units on the board, and then you can maybe just play a bunch of smaller units to maybe keep your units on the board for Coordinate. But he comes out on 5, which is pretty good. He's a 2/6, so he's not dealing a lot of damage. But when deployed, you're creating another Clone Trooper token. I think that this is going to be the leader to kind of make Coordinate stick a little bit easier than other leaders. And then each other friendly trooper unit gains +1/+0. So to me, that's pretty strong. There are a ton of troopers in this. You have things that kind of work really well with it. Like, first of all, Echo, if you can get coordinate on the board, it's a 4/4 for 2. It works with, again, playing a lot of small units. This is the best 2-drop in the game with coordinate, just because getting +2/+2 scary. You're going to play Rebel Tactical Officer. It's going to allow you to get that speed, right? Yularen's going to get your restore, and then also be able to make your heroic units a little bit buffer. You have Shock T, make those clone trooper tokens. Captain Rex makes more clone trooper tokens. You're going to want to use clone commander Cody in this deck, giving everything overwhelm. Again, your goal is to flood the board as much as possible. 501st Liberator, you can go ahead and heal. And there's one more card I want to talk about before you go ahead and talk about it. It's the Sword and Shield. That card is actually really, really good because, again, you're going to flood the board with troopers and you're going to have some Jedi synergy as well. Giving your Jedi units Sentinel to protect those clone troopers, to keep them on the board a little bit longer, and then giving all those clone troopers raid is just absolutely insane. You're going to be able to do a lot of fun things, which is why I have him at number 1. I just think that there's a lot more for him right now.
Yeah. So, like you were saying, with a lot of how he, his 2-drop, his ability being a 2 resource cost to make a clone is a bit rough, but that could potentially fix a somewhat broken mulligan hand. If you only have like a turn 1 play and nothing else, as long as your opponent doesn't insta-kill your turn 1 play, you could still get another unit out and kind of maintain your momentum. And also the idea of playing that 2-drop on turn 1. So like you play Echo turn 1. Turn 2, you attack with Echo. You play, what is it? It's Stalwart of the right here. Yeah, 332nd Stalwart as a 1-drop.
Yeah.
And then use his ability for total of 3 resources. You now have Coordinate on board for Stalwart and Echo.
Yeah.
Your presence is skyrockets. Shock T comes out on 4, giving all your tokens +1 power.
Yeah, it like, again, like he has the synergy right now. Like other cards kind of a little bit more. I think Obi-Wan does have some good synergy as well, but I just think that the ability to, the fact that it's not clone troopers as well, I think that that's big. Because there are a lot of cool troopers in earlier sets that you can run with him as well. And so the ability to run just any trooper, really, it sucks that the Bad Batch aren't troopers, but you can run things like Fighters for Freedom. You're not going to really run Fleet Lieutenant, even though I was about to say that, but you're not going to run it because it's not Rebels, right? You're not looking for Rebel synergy. You're looking just for Trooper synergy. But a card that I loved to run, if you're running Captain Rex in red, Precision Fire. Precision Fire is fantastic. You can go ahead and then use that for 1. You get Saboteur, and then you can go ahead and get +2/+0 on your troopers. And I think that card is going to see a lot more play in a deck like this because, again, like, I don't know, troopers are a lot of fun. You know, Tarkin troopers, fun in set 1. Tarkin troopers, not really a thing in set 2. It's more spaciness, but still, troopers, just fun. And again,
yeah, I mean, just looking at troopers from like all the sets, you have Battlefield Marines, Echo Base Defenders, Steadfast Battalions, Fighters for Freedom, you know, the pretty much all the Rebels for the most part. There's Sundari Peacekeeper, which is a great, you know,
another thing in green.
Heroic, Mercenary Company, pretty much all the Mandalorians for the most part. The majority of them are troopers. Meaning if you run that green-red, you have the Mandalorian kind of trait as a fallback for like some synergy. And then, you know, all the stuff they've shown off this set so far with all the clones.
Yeah, again, I mean, Captain Rex looks like a lot of fun. I think it's also the fact that the clones in general just look like a lot of fun. We're huge fans of the Clone Wars characters. At least I am. I'm sure Matt is as well. And there's just a lot of synergy with him and all these other cards. So with that being said, that's our list. If you don't agree with it, that's okay. You can do that. We're wrong a lot of the time. That's kind of our thing. But with that being said, I'm excited for this set. I hope you guys are too. I want to thank Matt for tuning in here. And now that we talked your ear off about leaders, I hope this gets you a little more excited for the heroism side of things. I do prefer heroism leaders over villainy leaders. So I am probably going to be maining majority of these leaders, as in like Obi-Wan is my main. So in my heart, he's number one. But in the actuality of things, I do think that Rex might be a little bit better. But we don't talk about that. With that being said, we're going to go on and get out of here. And we'll see you guys on the next video. Bye.
Later, guys.